Let's take a look at Ko's 2022 season at a glance. She's posted some incredible numbers this year. She leads the LPGA Tour in scoring average, percentage of rounds under par, strokes gained total, and strokes gained putting. She has the second most rounds in the 60s and top 10 finishes, and the second fewest putts per round. Lydia has 2 wins this season, one at the Gainbridge LPGA and the second in South Korea. A very emotional win for her just a few weeks ago at the BMW Ladies Championship. So, Tripp, we just listed off some pretty impressive stats there for Lydia. Do you think there is an argument to be made for this being her best season yet?
You can't really. I mean, at this point now, it's her best season clearly since the Abyss. And what is the Abyss? It's the players that unfortunately lose their confidence, lose their swing, and very few players climb out of that hole. Well, famously, Lydia Ko and Jordan Spieth both have done it. Clearly, it's the best season since then. And overall, I think statistically, she is a more rounded player than she was. But the winning of majors, that's going to be where it is. Now, she's had some top 10s in majors this year. She finished 5th at the Ladies Open. She played well at Evian, finished 3rd there. So, I mean, she's doing that. She's won twice this year. She's got 13 top 10s to her credit. So she is, I think, a more rounded player. She's got some distance that she can rely on now when she needs it, when it's called upon. She's not driving the ball quite as straight as she used to, but everything else is there. You look at the scoring and all that. I think the frontier for her, to compare it to those years of 2015 and 16 when she was #1 in the world, it will be the majors. Now, that's not to say they won't come with the well-rounded game that she currently has. I definitely think that it portends well for Lydia Ko. She says she only wants to play to 30. It kind of looks like she's going to have a good run to then. I hope she kind of sticks around after 30 because she could really break a lot of records the way she is playing right now. I definitely think it's the best one since the Abyss, and you got to give players full credit. When they come out of that, they never lose their talent. I've always said that. She was very talented. She's got a high golf IQ, and she applies it regularly on the LPGA Tour.
And Jaime, you heard Tripp use the word abyss there. Yeah. We speak a lot about these darker times that players go through and then have to climb back out of that. When you think back to the player that Lydia Ko was pre-abyss in that 15-16 time frame and compare that to the player we see today, what are the differences between those two players?
Well, I think there was freedom and innocence and joy and, you know, no expectations for a while at least, and then the expectations grew. And, of course, that's when it starts getting hard. And once it gets hard, coming back from that is very difficult. That's why I think this is probably her most satisfying season and her most admirable season. But in terms of the player she was in 2015, 2016, really no comparison. I mean, she won 9 times in those 2 years. She was #1 the whole time. She was 18, 19 years old, one of the greatest prodigies the game's ever seen. She just played with this brisk genius, and now you see her and she's slower and she's thinking more, and the game's harder. And I think for that reason, it's actually been something very fulfilling for her to come back, as Tripp was saying, to this point, because it's just not anywhere near as smooth and easy as it used to be. And, prodigies have talked about this for a long time. Ben Crenshaw used to say, you know, I was better when I was 18 or 19 years old than I even went after I won 2 Masters, or even before that. His whole pro career was not as good as his amateur career, as he said. You know, I just did. I didn't think. And Jordan Spieth, similarly, you know, he talks about being more well-rounded, and he probably is through the bag, but he didn't have the genius. He hasn't recovered quite all the genius that he had in 2015 and 16. So it's not a new phenomena, and I think what Lydia's done, again, I root for her, and I hope she recovers that magic, but it'll be hard to recover. And if she does, as Tiger did in 2019 when that Masters, then it becomes the greatest victories of all.
Yeah, well, it seems like she's well on her way to recovering that magic. And taking a look at the Rolex Player of the Year race, which, again, for the LPGA is based on a point system as opposed to the PGA Tour, which chooses their player through a member voting system. Lydia Ko currently with the slightest lead over Minjee Lee. Brooke Henderson and Atthaya Thitikul very much in the mix as well.